Alright, everybody, it's that time of year again because another damning Google Docs come out. However, this is going to be a bit more complicated than the last Google Doc video I made. So essentially, a Rhine high command named Karavath left the Rhine to work on other projects. He got a lot of shit for it and was considered excommunicated, so he wrote this document. Now I'm going to try and explain a lot of the points stated throughout this document, and I'll link it in the description. And for those wondering, I've been in the Rhine 3 months, so I've got enough to base my opinions on. But as always, let me know if I missed anything. First point. This is actually a problem. If we're at war with a group, then we need to list them as our enemies. Second point. This is somewhat a problem. If the Rhine loses a raid, then it needs to admit to the fact that it lost a raid. There should be no, oh, we're not at war bullshit. If you attack another group, you're at war. And if you lose that attack, it should be counted. But as far as that easy targets jab goes, it's just untrue. Nerfer will always be a priority target. The RF is nowhere near as dangerous as Nerfer and his groups. Point 3 is an interesting one. I'd agree with it if we didn't have a separate map built specifically for raiders and raiding. I do think we should have a raider team at our city though. And legitimately arm them, not just give them the glory of being on a raiders team without any guns like the RF does. Point 4 is untrue. Our raid map is actually really fair. And before you ask, yes, I've read all those little blue links too. After fighting on the same map for the last few months, I've realized that both the Rhine and the Raiders team have all sorts of different advantages that balance each other out. The Raiders spawn closer to the mountains and the control points, while the Rhine gets superior numbers and vehicles. Although, to be clear here, both sides do get a bunch of vehicles. As far as point 5 goes, this kinda happens all the time, for multiple groups. So, it's judged on a case-by-case basis. I'm not defending the Rhine here, but I don't know enough to judge them on anything. Not really sure what point 6 is about. We're very organized during our raids with all our voice chats, we're usually briefed beforehand, and we're always led by an officer into battle. Number 7, similar to offense 5. While I can't speak for the Rhine here, as I don't know the whole story, I do know that the RF's done the same thing to us. I've actually had to sit through it, and it's a pain in the ass. The same thing's true for 8. Lots of groups do this kind of thing. It's judged on a case-by-case basis. 9 is an interesting one. I've only ever seen one group do this, which was Nerfer's and Net. If the Rhine's doing this kind of thing, then they've got to stop doing it. 10. Admin abuse is a fucking pain. Rhine, don't admin abuse. 11. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't allow Game Pass guns. It's just whatever is determined. If the raid's official, we don't. If it's not, we do. But different divisions of the Rhine's army get different weapons, so we change teams during the raids we deem official. My only problem with 11 is, we're not worse at combat, compared to the IRF at least. Number 12. As I've stated previously, if you lose a raid Rhine, you gotta admit it. Now, as far as the rest of this goes, a couple things come to mind. First, 28 pieces of evidence were shown here. That's a lot, honestly, but it's not 50. A few of these could very well be repeats, but I don't feel like going through 28 shitty screenshots a second time. AA is always a problem. I hate when groups AA. Long story short, this document has 2 worthwhile points. First, Rhine, if you're at war with the IRF, admit it and own up to failed raids. Second, don't fucking admin abuse. This was a long, angry document that was just created for revenge, but it had a few points. You can just disregard the rest, I suppose. Oh, there is one more point I need to make actually. The IRF is made up of newbies and bacons. The decent players, the ones who make up the raiding force, are few and far between. That's what happens when you get a group of 150,000. In contrast, the Imperial Confederation of the Rhine is made up of 4,000. About half those players know how to fight well, if not exceptionally well. It seems that constant activity, trainings, and raids really pay off when it comes to an effective fighting force. Who knew?